Lock and Load podcast is sponsored by Lock and Load Firearms, Connecticut's #1 rated gun store and pistol permit class on Google. Come check us out, 1573 Merritt Waterbury Turnpike in Southington. Lock and Load Firearms.
Lock and Load podcast is also sponsored by Patriot Wear Holsters, custom-made Kydex holsters locally made in Waterbury, Connecticut. www.patriotwearholster.com and use code LNL podcast for 10% off your purchase. Orders available for shipping or pickup at various locations.
Aloha. Welcome to Lock and Load Podcast. My name's Josh.
And I'm Michelle.
And we normally talk to you about Connecticut 2A issues, but today we're not in Connecticut. It's a lot nicer here, warmer, normally nicer weather. We are in Kauai today on vacation, but we are doing two podcasts. So this week, we're going to talk about Hawaii compared to Connecticut laws. And then next week, we're going to do Alaskan laws because we're going up to Alaska. Two climates, guys. Get the nice sunny days and
freeze our butts off.
Yeah.
Last week.
Have lots of fun. So obviously, not in a normal area. Hopefully, these mics are pretty good. I did test them before, so they should be good. And we're working remotely now, guys. And I think we have a nice little scenic view here. We are leaving port shortly, so the view is going to change throughout the show today.
Maybe.
Sure, that little tugboat looks like he's going to be doing some work over here. So today's episode and podcast is going to talk about the kind of comparing and contrasting Hawaiian gun laws and Connecticut's. Similar but different.
Yeah. Well,
they
both don't like guns, both states.
Well, yeah, both governors don't like guns. I do feel like there's a much more lack of knowledge on the regular citizens here of gun knowledge, which we'll talk about a little bit later. First, we're going to compare and contrast some laws. I am using, consequently, the USCCA reciprocity map, which is kind of cool. That is free to anyone. That also tells you where you can and can't carry, and it's updated monthly. So those other maps out there, they get updated, but this is updated monthly.
Right.
So as my cheat sheet for today, because I didn't have a printer and only planned so far ahead, just like Connecticut, we do have a 10-round magazine capacity restriction. So does Hawaii. Ammo restriction, which is kind of different here, is you cannot have anything that's Teflon coated or armor piercing in Hawaii. So I think that'll kill your 5.56. What is it? The M855s, green tips, or is that the 193s?
It's the M855s are just a steel tip. It's not armor piercing per se.
Michelle's husband Matt is here today as our special guest, and so is my wife Logan. They're both behind the camera,
yes, they're
as our live studio audience.
Yes.
There's no constitutional carry, so that's the same as Connecticut, Massachusetts.
Yep.
So
this is weird. This is weird. Permitting situation they have.
Yeah. So open carry is actually legal here, but it does seem that they have different permits. So they have their purchasing permit, which requires a 14-day waiting period from when you buy the gun.
Minimum
waiting
14
period,
days when you buy a gun.
which is insane. And then rarely issued is a license to carry. Similar, I would assume, to Massachusetts. That's the same wording, the license to carry. That's what Mass calls their permit.
Yeah, but don't they give them out?
They do. It just takes forever.
I mean,
like 10 months.
With reading what this is, it doesn't sound like you really can't carry. You can carry open if you can possibly get that permit.
It did say that you needed to provide, what was the quote here? In an exceptional case when an applicant shows reason to fear injury to the applicant's person or property. I don't know how you prove that. Maybe if you've been threatened before, restraining order.
But not just everyday Joe.
Yeah. That is interesting. So Hawaii is now considered a shall issue state because of the Bruin decision. 21, years or older to carry a firearm.
Mm-hmm.
Handguns, are weapons other than handguns allowed to be carried? No. Handguns are the only guns that can be carried on a Hawaii concealed carry license. As of January 1st, though, they can carry tasers and stun guns for purposes. Looks like self-defense, defense of another person, or protection of property.
Wait, stop 1 second.
Yeah.
So if you have a taser and you're carrying it, and it lists those are the reasons why, what other reasons would you carry a taser?
I don't know.
I'm just curious.
It is unlawful for any person to knowingly or recklessly use an electronic gun. That's how they actually word it, electronic gun. For any purpose except self-defense, defense of another person, or protect property. So, I guess you can't have a taser and just tase your friend.
No, you can't just walk up to people randomly and goose them in the ass with a taser.
Like, mahalo. There are no statutes on pepper spray in Hawaii, but the city of Honolulu says that pepper spray may only be used for reasonable defense of themselves or property.
Oh, wow. So they put that way up, that level.
Minors are not allowed to carry pepper spray either.
Huh.
Here's an interesting one for you guys that travel. Can we carry or possess at a hotel in Hawaii? Hawaii statutes do not specifically address firearms at hotel. Hotels develop their own policies, and individual hotels should be contacted to inquire about that. There was an interesting thing about transporting your firearms to here. I'm going to try to find that here. Now, one big weird one that is definitely different than others is the no weapon signs. Are they enforced? They are enforced here. So unlike Connecticut where they're not.
Oh, look at with
it is actually
charges.
It is actually criminal trespass in the second degree to carry a firearm in a place that says you can't carry a firearm.
Wow.
That is something. You also have a duty to inform in Hawaii where you do not in Connecticut. But your driver's license and license to carry are not linked together. That's interesting.
Okay.
I know they have red flag laws here. I did see that. Those are just like ours. They do have castle doctrine in Hawaii.
Stronger than ours?
It does look like the same. They do have a duty to retreat, and they don't have stand your ground.
Okay.
So that looks like
about
just on par with ours. Anything under the more section? Nope. One big interesting thing that Michele really picked up on is the other day we've been in Hawaii a few days, and we were at Pearl Harbor tour. And during that tour, we had to go through security. Our tour guide had a base card. So we were going to Ford Island, which is the military base for Pearl Harbor. And we were able to go on there and go on the USS Missouri.
And see the aviation.
And the aviation museum.
Yeah.
And they had to inspect the vehicle, and then he had to go through security. And Matt and I were like, oh, what kind of guns do the security forces have? Because, that's interesting. And I thought it was a Beretta at first. It ended up being a SIG P320, probably an M18. And the guy, our tour guide was like, oh, yeah, sometimes they pack AKs. And I'm like, no, they don't.
No, they don't.
I'm like, so little misconception on that part. And then he was like, oh, no, like ARs. And I'm like, no, they don't. We explained like the differences between ARs, M4s, M16s.
Semi-automatic versus fully automatic. Fully auto.
And just the sheer, not the lack of knowledge from him, because it's not blaming him, but the lack of information that the Hawaiian people have, because it's not a huge thing in their communities.
Yeah,
right?
It's not something that they... Apparently, it's not something that they go out looking for. Okay, so there's a couple people, I'm sure, that have their firearms, and I'm guessing it's mostly law enforcement or someone along that because of the way they were talking. But,
armored truck. We saw one of those.
Right. You have your own, those kinds of things. I don't think the day to day. And I picked up on it because I found it interesting that the knowledge they thought they had is basically what you're hearing on the news.
Yeah, definitely. Or from their governor.
Right. Or from the governor. But it's all the media driven, firearms they do this and they shoot 100,000 bullets per minute. And, which we all know. Hello.
ARs are only used in mass shootings.
Right. And
that was cool to give him like statistics on that. And I'm like, we were walking to the battleship and I was just like giving him statistics, basically talking postal permit class stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm on vacation and I'm talking guns.
Yep. But he wanted to listen and that was cool. That was really cool. He wanted to take the time. He wanted to listen about it or to it. I just found it interesting because I think with a governor here, okay, number one, they're on islands.
Yeah.
It's not a huge situation, where they can go from state to state just boop, like that, no problem. So I think they're kind of insulated. And with a governor who is anti-gun, and with the media throwing bad gun is bad, guns are bad, guns are bad. I think it just kind of, they believe that. But I also think it has to do with their basic lifestyle. Like we've learned over a couple of touring the islands, doing a couple of things, these guys, the natives, are very friendly, welcoming. They, family, they consider even the tourists that come in family. So I think in some ways, because that's their culture, guns aren't a big issue in their culture.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So walking distance from our hotel in Waikiki, there was at least a gun store / possible range. It said gun club.
Yeah, we ran out of time. I wanted to see that.
I did walk by it when I was going to the post office to mail some stuff. And it was just a door that led upstairs. It wasn't super welcoming. So I decided not to go up it. Just to be honest. It wasn't like, come on in. Like, it didn't look that retail. It kind of looked clubby. So I don't know if it was just maybe like a 22 only club upstairs or something.
Yeah,
right. Could have been that. Because like those aren't hard to put in.
Right.
But it definitely wasn't like a normal store that you would think of on like a retail space.
Right.
Or any sort of large facility for a range.
So there were no guns and no windows?
No. Not even stickers.
I think what we need to do is on Maui, when we land, when we get a dock in, or I don't know.
Try to find a gun store?
The heck. Yeah. I think we should Google and see if there's a gun store on Maui. I am curious. I would have thought to do it here and I forgot. But I'd like to see, and then on Hilo too, I know we have other stuff going.
Our technical assistant is looking that up right now, guys.
Perfect. Just to see how many are on the islands, because I don't think.
Well, there were 2 in the Waikiki area, that gun club, and then there was another one that closed a little early.
Okay.
Oh, your phone locked out.
Do you need it?
Yeah, maybe. We'll double check. And I didn't look for any in Kauai here. We drove around a lot yesterday. My technical assistant is saying there are 5 in Maui.
In Maui?
That are not burnt down.
Are they close to port? Can I go see them? Sorry, guys. I just had to find out what I was going to do.
Check it out tomorrow. If there's a part 2 to this, then there you go.
Yeah. Might be dark.
So when they purchase firearms here, they need a permit to purchase, a background check, because that's from any licensed dealer. Firearm registrations are required to buy a handgun from a private individual. There's a 14-day waiting period when applying to purchase. Oh, okay, hold on. There's a minimum 14-day wait when applying for a purchase permit. Oh, I wonder if it's set up like New Jersey then. So New Jersey, you need to get a permit every time you buy a gun.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it sounds
does
like.
That too, because
New York's listed on the back.
It's not a permit, but you have to keep updating it.
And all firearms and ammunition must be registered with the chief of police.
And ammo too?
That's what it says.
So how do you do that? So if you register it, okay.
Maybe you just tell them you bought 100.
But what if you go use it at the range? You have to tell them I used a box of 9.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's what you have to do a background check in New York to buy ammo. So
Yeah.
maybe they're same concept, not a background check, but they want to know how much ammo you're buying. Is there a threshold that'll set it off? You know,
Inquiring minds would need to know.
that is weird. I do know. I was trying to find.
We're moving.
We are moving. I was trying to find the section on here that allowed you
It's very weird. That sounds very wet.
water.
Where, from
It's a
where?
pipe right here from above us.
Okay.
Um,
I'm like,
sorry, guys. That's like, what's going on? There's a pipe right here next to my head.
it sounded like it was going to rain down on us, and I'm going.
It's because we're moving and the water's swaying from the little crack that's there.
Oh, that was
Michelle doesn't have a balcony, so she doesn't know.
I don't have a balcony. I have a big window, but
She does have it is a nice window.
Yes.
Anyways, what I was trying to say was that if you're coming from out of state and you're going to shoot at a range, then I think you're allowed to bring your firearm.
You are, because at least for shotguns, because I have friends that shoot APA trap or whatever it is. I think it's APA. And they go all over the country to different state shoots. So
Do they
I
come
know
here?
they're on Oahu. There is a big trap range that they do quite often.
Oh,
I don't know that we passed, or if he didn't, he was supposed to tell me the name of it and we forgot, but I do know that they do that.
Huh.
So you absolutely can bring guns, whether or not it's only, shotguns or something, I don't know, but you can bring.
that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I know a while ago, and this is going back to like the 2020 time when I was supposed to come here originally. I did look at like a gun range somewhere, and they did say how to do that. But laws do change.
Yes.
This wonderful states.
Yes.
We're moving now. Little tugboat has left us behind. Poor little tugboat. I think that kind of wraps it up, right? It's just kind of a quick little short video.
Yeah. I mean, the laws are interesting always to compare. And, this one, not so much. When we're home, we hear about New York and we hear people go, well, what can I do in Massachusetts? We don't get that often. Sorry about that. But it is cool to always look at what the different laws are. I also just found it the social experiment part, listening to people talk about firearms. It was
Well, our island
weird.
guide,
Yes.
we did a private tour, and he was born in Russia, raised in Israel, and then has been in Hawaii 11, 10,
He's been
12?
here 11, but he had lived on the mainland for a little while, and he's
Okay.
been here
In
I think,
Honolulu.
in Honolulu for 11 years.
Okay. So, and he still had a pretty lack of knowledge with the firearm aspect as well.
Because we were talking about Israel and stuff, and he was
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah, you were like, did you have family there? What's going on?
He wasn't lost on what's going on, well, necessarily all of what's going on there, but he was lost on the firearms, the fighting, that, what they're using, that kind of stuff. Because his family, he was lucky. His family is up north. They're not down by Jerusalem and stuff.
Yeah. So, and I mean, we're only giving two examples here, but we interacted with these two individuals for many hours that day, those days.
When I talked to other people on the beach and stuff, and it was the same kind of just lack of knowledge.
Which, I don't want to say it's a good thing, but at least maybe, we were out there, we were walking around. I know we weren't like walking around super late.
Yeah.
And there was definitely like, some not so savory individuals out there. And we were in the tourist area.
Yes.
So I don't know how general crime is. We did ask,
It's
I think,
not bad,
the Pearl Harbor tour. And general crime wasn't horrible.
Because again, like they believe you're all family.
Yeah.
So whether you're on hard times, whether you and our guide had said most people are there because of alcohol or drugs. That's why they're on in tents, and they live in tents like back on the mainland. We don't want to see them. If they're homeless, we want to hide our head.
Yeah.
These guys, they're popping tents right up next to the resorts and everything else. They don't care, and nobody cares that they're there.
Yeah.
They're safe. They're taken care of. They just have a problem, and so that's also a very different concept from what we're from not doing anything with guns.
While we're in the United States, it's definitely different.
Yeah,
as many Caribbean islands as I've been to. Obviously, this is not Caribbean specific. This is definitely, it's kind of a combination, right? You have the island camaraderie, but the American influence.
When we walked around at night, Matt and I, we actually said it was very weird. You just felt safe. It was, whereas even in touristy stuff, you don't feel safe, even in nice neighborhoods all the time, depending on where you are. But people were just, they were just friendly. Yeah. Which is wonderful.
Yeah. Right. Anything else you want to add?
I think I'm good.
I'm excited for the Alaska one. I think we should do that one right here in our sweatshirts. And sweatpants.
We have to see how cold it is, because like right here is gonna be cold. It might have to be inside, dude.
Nah, we should do it right. It'd be a really cool back. You know, we could do it on like Glacier Day. We could do it in Spinnaker.
You could do it in the Spinnaker Lounge.
We can have our technical assistant hold the phone the entire time instead of the fan. You guys you can't even see the setup right now because you're only looking at us.
We'll pile chairs up or something.
They could.
They can't get that grumpy at us. But maybe during Glacier. That's towards the end, though.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. Figure it out, guys. Hope you guys are enjoying our previous podcasts. Make sure to check out the one with Greg Miller. That's about 3 podcasts ago. That is how to stay out of trouble and keep your permit. Yep. Very important one. And then the one before this one is actually with Martin, Mary, Ricardo, myself, you, and Frank. And that is, if you were watching this one before that one, go back to that one. That was a very fun time to film. And as a bonus clip there, guys, make sure you stay till after the outro. There might be some funny clips after that. So on that, my name's Josh.
And I'm Michelle.
And we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.